I just got home from a 1,000-mile road trip to buy a bucket list truck, and it ended up being too good to be true. I came home empty-handed, and on the drive home, I was thinking, man, I really got to make a video talking about the reality of buying old cars and trucks, because the last thing you want to do is end up with a 4,000-pound piece of lawn art. But before we get into that, I got some new merch on the old website. We got these hats in. Harris Art Co. has made these killer trucker hats for me. I got camo and I got black. I'm starting with those colors. And you know, we're gonna add some more later on down the road, but I'm really proud of these because they do a lot of little detailed touches, like having a logo printed there, having my Yeah Buddy Garage text on the inside, and heck, even have a Yeah Buddy Garage logo on the band. These are legit, dude. These are really, really nice hats. They fit like the Richardson or Yao Peng style hats. I don't know how you say that word. And also, we're running low on the classic tees that I'm wearing. So if you want one, hop on the website. We've already sold out of a few sizes. I'm gonna be putting in another order in the next couple of weeks, but we still have the throwback logo with the big front chest print. So go check it out if you wanna support the channel, and if you wanna grab some super sweet, super comfy merch. Hurricane Milton was barreling for Tampa as a Category 5, and I looked at Lauren and said, hey, I found a dream truck in North Carolina. You wanna load the kids up and drive 500 miles to go look at it? She goes, yeah, sure, I'm down. So we got up at 5:30 in the morning and drove the 500 miles to central North Carolina to look at this truck. Now, it was a 72 Chevy Blazer, but not just any Chevy Blazer. It was an original paint, two-wheel drive CST Blazer. To put in perspective how hard it is to find this truck. In 1969, that was the first year they came out with the Blazer. And they made just over 4,900 of these units. By 1970, they made 11,500 and introduced the first two-wheel drive Blazer and produced just under 1,000 of those units. In 1971, they had a total production number of 17,200, with 1,200 units being two-wheel drive, and by 1972, they made only 44,000 units, and 3,300 of them were two-wheel drive. Now, if you compare that with the C10 production numbers in the same time frame, there was over 1 million C10s produced. So less than 10% of Chevrolet's truck production numbers were Blazers, and less than 10% of that were two-wheel drive Blazers. So now you can see why I started to get pretty excited about this dang truck, man. So we got up at 5:30, drove the 500 miles, got out there, went straight to the dude's shop, and I got my eyes on it for the first time. And let me tell you, dude, I fell in love. It was the perfect patina. It did have some rust, but nothing we couldn't take care of. The top needed some love, but again, nothing we can't take care of. It fired right up. We drove it around. It ran a little rough, but I knew that that truck was gonna make the 500-mile trip home. So you gotta do your due diligence when you're looking at buying these classic vehicles, because it is very easy to you know, rip a VIN plate off and put another one on. The first thing I did was took a picture of the VIN plate and sent it to my insurance guy, because I'm not gonna drive anything around without insurance on it. And when we were in the office getting ready to do the paperwork, changing out the money and all that stuff, I just happened to glance at the title and the VIN number, and they didn't match. That was a huge red flag, because if your title doesn't match your VIN, something might be going on. Now, on the actual VIN plate of the truck, there was a 2 somewhere in the middle of the VIN number, but on the title, there was an S. So they were saying, oh, it's a clerical error, it's a clerical error. And I said, you know what, man, this is such a big purchase for me, I gotta take a step back and make some phone calls. So I called a couple buddies that have a lot more experience in buying cars than me, and they didn't really run into that situation before. One of them said it really shouldn't be an issue, but they weren't sure. But I had an ace up my sleeve. We have a friend of the family who worked for the Florida DMV for over 20 years. So we happened to get her on the phone, and she said, Josh, if that title doesn't match the VIN, it has to be fixed in the state that it's from before Florida's even gonna look at it. So I went back to the seller and I said, hey man, like, you gotta get this fixed. Well, it turns out the guy selling the truck wasn't the actual seller, he was a flipper, which isn't a bad thing. I've dealt with flippers before. I've never actually completed a purchase with a flipper, but if you have all your P's and Q's in a row, you can do it. But I tend to only buy vehicles from the actual owner. I think what did it in for me was he had a buddy that dealt with this stuff all the time, and it's no problem, it's just a clerical error, it's just a clerical error. Well, that clerical error could turn into a huge problem. So I said, look, man, I really hate to do this, but I can't buy this truck. Like, if you can get that VIN number fixed, I'll buy it from you, but if you can't get it fixed, then I gotta walk away. So I had to walk away from literally a dream truck that I've been just like dying to get my hands on. And I was absolutely devastated, but we made the best of it. The weather in North Carolina was awesome, and the kids were really good, so that made up for it. We actually went to the zoo up in North Carolina, and we had a really, really good time. So I can't say the trip was a total bust, but it sucked. It sucked, let's just say that. So on the drive home, I was thinking, how many other people have been affected by something like this? Maybe didn't think to check a VIN number, or maybe they don't really have a checklist when they're going to look at vehicles. Because normally I don't really check the VIN number. I've started to. I did with the van, I remember, and I think that truck is the only one where I'm like, oh, I need to check the VIN number. But something was telling me that I had to do that. And I stayed in touch with the guy. I don't think that he knew it was an issue. Again, he was a flipper, and there are some flippers that are really good and they care about the people they're selling the vehicles to, and they care about the vehicles because they don't want to get a bad reputation. And then there are some flippers that they just try to make a quick buck. Now this fella, I think that he was legit. I don't think he actually knew what was going on. He had the truck for a couple of weeks, and he was very like surprised. He reacted the way I felt like he should have reacted. So he was like, well, I leave a deposit, you know, we'll get it worked out. I'm like, no, I can't even do that, dude. Like I just had to literally walk away from the deal, which really sucks. That brings me to my first tip, and that's, you gotta get your eyeballs on it, man. You can't buy a vehicle without actually looking at it and touching it. Now, if you're going through like an auction site like Bring a Trailer, or you're going through like Mika Auto Auction, they do a really, really good job vetting the seller and actually going through the vehicle and making sure that it is exactly as advertised, because they don't want their reputation ruined because somebody tried to get one over on them. So if you're buying through a site like that, I would feel comfortable buying it sight unseen. But if you're buying it from just like a regular fella off a marketplace, you might want to go look at it. In hindsight, I really wish I took you guys along for that whole trip of just, you know, just trying to share the feeling of like going to look at like a new truck. Like that's just, it's so much fun to me. And I think I'm gonna start doing that on future trips, even though it may be a bust, but I think that would have made this video a lot more interesting. My plan was to buy it and then try to drive it the 500 miles home, but obviously like that didn't work out. So number one, you gotta get your eyeballs on it. Number two, you gotta actually do your due diligence. When you get there and look at it, does the title match the VIN on the plate? Does the story the seller's telling you make sense? You know, kind of got to like make sure that the thing's not stolen and they're trying to slap lipstick on a pig and get it out there so they can make a couple bucks. I would actually advise you to buy from original owners, but I wouldn't be, depending on the vehicle in person, I wouldn't necessarily be worried about purchasing from a flipper if you have the right documentation. 3, make sure you get all of the docs. Now, I can only speak for the state of Florida and my experience with titling vehicles with them. If you've purchased a vehicle that's titled in Florida, and I'm titling it in Florida in my name, they typically don't need to see the vehicle and verify the VIN number. They'll just do the title and registration work right there, as long as you have insurance. Now, if you're buying something from out of state, I will need a bill of sale. So in Georgia, up to a certain year, I can't remember right off the top of my head, they actually don't have titles for the vehicles, or it wasn't required. So I've actually purchased a couple vehicles from Georgia that had no title, and all that was required was a bill of sale. Now, when you purchase a vehicle out of state and you're trying to title it in Florida, then the DMV actually has to look at the VIN number. Now, if you can't actually bring the vehicle to the office, they will send a sheriff's deputy out to take a look at the VIN to verify it. Now, they don't do like emissions and smog and all that stuff here in Florida, but you gotta make sure that VIN number and all those documents match, because if they don't, they're not gonna title it in your name. And again, yard art. Now, I say all that to say this: I have actually bought vehicles within the state of Florida that had Florida titles from the owner, And when we did the section where we fill out, how much we're selling it for, how much I'm buying it for, or whatever, we put a single line where the dollar sign was. So it was like the S and the 1 line, which is an acceptable dollar sign format, but not in the state of Florida. You got to have the 2. Because of that 1 line, I had to actually go back to the seller and write up a bill of sale to show like, yeah, I bought it from this guy. Here's the bill of sale and the title. A little frustrating, but learn my lesson. When you're doing your documents, make sure you're filling out everything correctly. I would probably even advise for you to get a bill of sale when you're buying vehicles from the state that you're in, if they don't even require it. It's just that extra layer of documentation to say, oh, well, here, I have this. And then they could say, okay, yeah, this matches, we'll take care of you. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about, and this is another tip, maybe just some insight, is money. Now, I have a finance background. I used to work in the mortgage industry, and the government doesn't really like cash. If cash is just out in the market, they tend to get a little nervous because they can't track it. And that's why they get nervous. So, if you got more than $10,000 in cash and you're carrying that around, just know that if you get pulled over and law enforcement sees it, or if you're flying with it and a TSA agent sees that, they have the right, and I'm not joking, they have the right to seize those assets until you can prove what you're using those for. Even though you're going to buy a vehicle and you're not using it for illegal purposes, be aware that they can seize large sums of money. Also, you can't just go in and deposit $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in cash in your bank account. You got to think about that. How could you have gotten that money? You have to show where that money came from, how you came in to that money. So keep that in mind. If you're selling a vehicle and you're wanting cash, you got to be really careful about how you document that purchase. Now, if you have the bill of sale, a copy of the bill of sale, a copy of the title, and you show it to the bank and say, this is what I sold it for, here's everything that matches, you should be fine. But if you don't have that, they will not. They may deposit it, but they might open up an investigation. They have what's called red flag rules, where they can actually go in and start monitoring what you're doing. Crazy, I know, but that's what the government does. So when I'm purchasing vehicles, my preferred method of money transfer is a wire transfer. Now, I know some of you guys and gals aren't comfortable with that, but again, my experience, sorry about that, but my experience in the mortgage industry shows that it is actually a very safe and quick way to transfer large amounts of money. If you go into the bank of the seller and you get their wire transfer information, call your bank, that money will be in their account and cleared within 1 to 2 hours, typically. Now, they do have cutoff times for these wire transfers, and you might have to wait for the next business day, but if you can get there in the morning, the money will typically be cleared and everything will be done within a couple of hours. Another option is like a cashier's or traveler's check. Now, keep in mind, if you're doing a cashier's check, that may not clear right away. That may take a couple of days for those funds to clear. So if you're doing a cashier's check, just know you might need to leave some extra time for everything to clear. Now, one thing you can do in that kind of gray area for things to transfer and go through is obtain a bill of sale from the seller while they retain the title to the vehicle. So if there's ever any dispute or any kind of like legal action, you could have a document that shows you made contact with this person. This is the amount you agreed to purchase a vehicle for. This is the money coming out of your account going into their account, or this is the cashier's check going into their account, and then you can handle it through the court system that way. Now, I'm not saying this to say that that's gonna be, that this is common. This is definitely not common. Anytime you're buying a classic car or truck, normally it's a very relaxed transaction, but you gotta be mindful of what can happen and the pitfalls of buying these cars and trucks, man. And another thing I'm not afraid to do either is finance a classic. Now, if you go to like Barrett Jackson or Mecum, like they actually have app takers, credit app takers at the auction where you could just fill out a credit application real quick and they'll send it off and say, yep, you're approved for this much. And you can just buy a dang car and finance it all right there and take care of the money later. To me, these cars are appreciating assets. I have bought new vehicles and lost money on them in the past. I think we all have. But just about every classic that I own has appreciated in value. Number one, they're getting harder to find. Number two, they're becoming more desirable. I see that the classic car and truck market growing every year. More people are interested in it, and every year we're getting new antiques introduced into the market, like a 1994 Honda Civic. So if you don't have the cash, if you don't have a way to access that kind of money, don't be afraid to look at doing a personal loan or maybe a collector car finance loan, because I'm telling you, once you go to sell that, you're probably gonna break even on it, or you're gonna make a little bit of money. And at the end of the day, it's all about the experiences that you're gonna have with that car. Like, that car may get you to and from work, but that's gonna be the car you're making memories in. You know, every vehicle that I've owned, I've always looked back and I could point out like a memory I have with that. And it's like, it's a different experience than owning like a new car, because it doesn't have any personality. It doesn't have any like, I have no interest in new cars nowadays. Yeah, they have all the tech and they're fast and they look cool and all that stuff. Probably more reliable than the old junk I have. But at the end of the day, like, nobody's turning over and checking out your 2024 because it has a cool paint job. But I tell you what, when I pull up to the stoplight in my 79 red and white Blazer slammed on the ground, people are like, yeah, man, that's awesome. And that freaking OBS dually is a neck breaker, dude. I can't tell you how many times I've been driving down the interstate. You see dudes with their phones out, like trying to take a picture of it real quick, because that thing looks so sick driving down the road. I financed old vehicles before too, so I mean, that's why I say I'm not opposed to it, because again, you're purchasing an investment. Now, I don't think I would just finance any old classic car. You know, you gotta finance the right one, because if you get into the right one and they hold their value, you're gonna be able to get out of it just fine. You know, just some thoughts I've had while making this video. Anytime you're buying from somebody, make sure they're good communicating. They're responsive. I can't tell you how many times I've had to go back to the seller to get another document signed or get another piece of information. And if you're dealing with somebody who maybe isn't that open to communicating and you need them to do something, it may not come through for you. So just be mindful of that. Another thing to think about, if you finance your ride and you do go to sell it, if you pay off that loan, you could have a chunk of cash left over to buy your next ride. So that could be like your gateway vehicle. That's it's pretty much what happened with the Blazer. It was actually a personal loan that I took out to pay for the rest of the money that I didn't have. And let me tell you, man, I've made some amazing memories in that Blazer. I've had memories with the boys, Lauren, you know, me and my dad have gone on road trips in that thing. We put thousands and thousands and thousands of miles in that Blazer. And it just, I mean, that was probably the best purchase I've ever made, because that's really like the catalyst to Yeah Buddy Garage. Well, now that we talked about that, let's go check out those packages over there. Y'all sent me some stuff and I want to see what it is. Just got a couple things in today. If y'all want to start sending me junk, 704 East Moody Boulevard, Unit 10, Bunnell, Florida, 32110. I want to start doing like a little mail corner thing where we open up the stuff that you guys send us. And I think I got an idea on what this is. More on that in a minute. Oh, dude, it's a Hawaii plate. That is sick. And I got a little note here. This plate's, okay, so I was gonna say one of you guys had commented on the video. I couldn't remember which video it was, but yeah, Rob had actually suggested to make like a viewer's license plate wall. And that was what I was gonna talk about. So this is gonna be the first plate on that wall. I don't know where it's gonna go yet, but I'm gonna find a place and we're gonna name it something cool. And then I'm just gonna put a bunch of license plates from all you guys and gals from all over the world, hopefully. But yeah, these are all just kind of like my plates, but I think it'd be cool to have a plate section just for you guys. All right, so I wanna read his letter real quick. It's actually really nice. He said, I wanted to say thanks for the content and taking us along with you. Following your shop lighting episode, I commented about your viewers sending in license plates for your wall. Well, here's my contribution. Although after 24 years in the Army and spending 18 of those in Hawaii, jealous. Upon retiring, I moved back to Gulf Breeze, Florida, but obviously you have an abundance of Florida plates, as you saw, and I have a few Hawaii ones. Looking forward to your current future builds, adventures, and overall passion for classic trucks. Rob Eubanks. Thank you, Rob. That's awesome, man. Can't wait to find a place for this and hang it up on the wall. That is rad. I wonder if I could do it like right there, like when you first walk in. That'd be cool. Okie dokie. Now this one is from the same people, April May Shine, that made the killer sign here. AprilMayShine.com. They make all kinds of stuff. Check them out now. I believe they have these for sale, actually. And they're not priced too bad, so go get one for your shop if you want. Ooh, we got a couple things here. Oh, sweet. These are the coasters. That's pretty rad. You hear it? It's like a tile. That is super cool, man. Yeah, we got a couple of coasters in here. Oh, man. These are rad, dude. So freaking license plates. Check those out. So he said, he did say he was sending one of these, it's a piece of plastic, but there's a film over it, which is the shiny stuff, and then they just use their laser etcher and burn in like whatever design you want. So we got a couple of those. We're gonna have to throw it on one of the trucks. Maybe we'll put one on Mama's 4Runner. That is awesome, dude. So rad. Let's see, what do we got here? Man, this thing is full of stuff, dude. This is awesome. Oh, we got some little keychains. Dude, I might actually start giving some of these away. That's actually a good idea. I need to keep some for myself, obviously. Actually, I don't have a keychain for the van. Boom, there you go. That's rad. We got a couple of these. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. Wait a minute, hang on. Oh, these are the, okay, so these are like toolbox placards. Get your pliers in here, your screwdrivers. That is gonna be real handy when I get my, my big toolbox, because I'm not gonna know what to do with myself when I get that sucker in there. Check it out, you got sockets here, let me come in here. You got sockets, air tools, wrenches, hammers. That's cool, man. Oh, these are like, yeah, buddy, magnets. Do I have anything magnetic? Yeah. Like a fridge magnet. That's rad, dude. That's awesome. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spread the love a little bit. So, Mr. Rob, I'm gonna send you a sticker, and I'm gonna send you one of these keychains from April May Shine. I'm gonna keep some for myself, but. And April and Curtis, hope you guys don't mind this, but this is like a cool idea I just came up with seeing these, and it kind of helps you guys too. All right, we got 1, 2, I got 7 keychains here. This first one's going to Mr. Rob, which means I have 6 keychains I'll give you with a sticker if you send me a license plate for the wall. Also, I got some new stickers coming. I probably won't have them for like a couple weeks, so I might wait till I get those to send them out. But I made up a little character. I'm calling him Lil Buddy. And it's just a crescent wrench, you know, adjustable wrench. And he's just chilling, having a good time. So that's gonna be a really cool sticker. Hoping to have a professional artist knock that out for me one day, because I think we could do a lot with that, especially because we're a kid-friendly channel. Anyway, I'm getting distracted here. We got a couple more things to look at. All right. We got the big old cup, right? With the OBS on it. So again, that freaking laser etched magic right there. That looks like the pace truck graphic. Haha, that's rad, dude. Check it out. That's cool. And we got another cup. This will be perfect because we're getting ready to go on a big road trip and I need a cup. Oh, dude, this one's rad. Okay, so this one's for Lauren, as you guys can see. Now, a lot of you guys and gals that watch the channel know her dad has a killer 56 F100, and that's been one of the more popular videos on the channel. But there we go. That's it right there. I gotta get a reaction to her seeing this. She doesn't know that she's getting this. I think she's really gonna like it, man. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. That is awesome, dude. Just got to Lauren's office. She's probably doing something important like working, and I'm making YouTube videos. Let's see what she thinks of this new cup. Oh, she's not there. Oh, that's right. Her office flooded.
It says "Yeah, buddy" on it.
Yeah.
This better be good.
Is this an anniversary gift or something? Or
No,
you were a bad boy?
Yeah.
You were a bad boy. Oh.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so
No,
much.
one of my subscribers made this cup for her.
Really?
Yeah.
So you saved it until you were into the doghouse and then
Yeah, exactly. I know.
They know I love my giant water bottle.
They do. Yeah.
That's so special.
It is. It's sweet. Yeah, man, that's awesome. She loves it. Appreciate you guys sending that over. AprilMayShine.com. They can make you quite a few cool things. Also, I was chatting with realtors in there, and they don't think that going on a 500-mile road trip one way with a 40-some-year-old truck is a good idea. Why would they think that? All right, guys and gals, that's gonna do it for me today. Gotta get these orders out to you guys. Appreciate the support, man. It's been awesome, like starting to get merch out. I'm starting to like fall into a rhythm, and it's not as overbearing as I remembered it being when I did the C10 Club Florida. Anyway, next show for us, C10 Fall Revival in Denton, North Carolina. If you're in the area, you gotta go to the show. We had an amazing time last year. The weather was awesome. It's supposed to be cooler out, and Lauren and I are super pumped. It's just us this time, no kids, so we're gonna be having a good time. But anyway, guys and gals, as always, I appreciate y'all hanging around and watching these videos. I'll see you in the next one.